Hello and welcome back to my channel. No. I'm gonna get a little diddle to play when my channel comes in. So this video is going to be about stopping breastfeeding, specifically weaning a toddler. So here comes my little toddler. So this video, this is a toddler, is about how we weaned our toddler, or how I weaned my toddler breastfeeding. So he breastfed until he was 20 months old. Our aim was to get to 1 year, which we did easy peasy, and then we wanted to start weaning him basically kind of automatically after a year because we wanted to have another kid ASAP. But we were going on a trip to England like 3 months after his birthday, and our doctor kind of was like, if you want to make it easier on yourself on the plane and traveling, you should just probably keep him breastfeeding, because to be honest, like, I don't think he was ready to stop breastfeeding, and I wasn't ready to stop breastfeeding. It wasn't like when he got to a year I was just gonna be like, oh nope, you're done. So we just kind of kept it going to make the trip easier, and because we're gonna be there for 2 weeks in a new place and didn't want to like everything to be like out of whack anyway. So we get back from England. Now he's like a year and 3 or 4 months, and then I was working a lot, and then it was gonna be kind of like we were both working a lot. Like Chris was waking up early and I was working, and it was like, when do we have time? Because we knew it was gonna be like a few like rough days or a week of like hard times for him. So we were like, just put it off, and basically we waited until it was summertime and I was done teaching. So that's why he ended up being like 20 months is when I think we stopped. So and here's maybe like my tips or ideas on how to wean your toddler. So he was the main thing is he was a co-sleeping toddler. So that's even worse. He needed me to go to sleep. He needed the boob, more specifically, to go to sleep for his naps and for going down at night. So that's what made it kind of like our situation difficult, is like he wasn't napping on his own at all. We weren't putting him down at night on his own. Like, he used the boob to go to sleep. So that's why we were just like, oh, how are we gonna do this? So yes, which is something that we will not be doing probably with the second kid, just to make it easier on ourselves. So he was getting to the point, we sleep on our mattresses on the floor. We have a king size mattress on the floor, and then we got him a little mattress for his crib that we put on the floor next to ours. So some nights, like in the middle of the night, he would like unlatch and then roll over to his bed and sleep on his bed. So I knew that he was getting to the point, because he was like, some nights, like for the full night after he unlatched, he would like sleep on his bed, and then some nights he would come back. But he was also doing, like, he wouldn't sleep through the whole night. Like, sometimes when he would wake up in the night, he would come back and want to be on the boob and then go back to sleep. So this was like, oh, come on, dude. And like, I was getting to the point where like I was over it. I was over it for probably like a good 3 to 6 months before we stopped. I was like, I would tell Chris, like, I'm so annoyed. Like, I get annoyed with him because like I don't want him on my boob, and like I'm getting to the point where it's not comfortable for me to be sleeping because he's getting bigger, and to be having him next to me, like I couldn't get comfortable, and I just didn't want to be doing it anymore. But I also like felt bad. I didn't want to just be like, all right, you just sort yourself out, you know. So one night, I don't remember why, probably because I was like, I don't want to have to keep feeding him, and add on top of that, like I'm sorry, this is like kind of like all over the place, but to add on top of it is we wanted a second kid, and I could not conceive because I was still breastfeeding him. So sorry if this is TMI, but like I hadn't had a period since I got pregnant with him, and people were like, oh, you can still get pregnant while breastfeeding, which I know some women can, but like everybody's body is different, and my body was not ovulating because he was breastfeeding. And I know like, oh, well, you can still ovulate if you don't have a period. I know all these things, but I wasn't ovulating and I wasn't having a period. So talked to the doctor, and she was like, well, it's just probably because you're still breastfeeding. And so they're like, if you start like cutting down his feedings, like maybe your ovulation will come or your period will come or something. So we were down, like, so we started to cut out his feedings. I wouldn't feed him in the morning when he woke up anymore, which like sometimes you'd want to do to kind of like get that extra like hour in or something. So I stopped doing that. He was only feeding when he was going down for a nap, and then I would like unlatch him and wouldn't feed him again, and then he was feeding at night. So we were down to basically like 2 feedings, his nap time and his going to sleep, and still nothing. So I knew it was like he was gonna have to be completely done, 0 breastfeeding in order for me to get my period. I'll make a trying to get pregnant with the second baby video separate. But anyway, so one night I was just like, all right, Bodhi, you know, soon you're gonna be a big boy. And mind you, he can't talk yet. So this is just basically me talking to him, and he's just, who knows if he even knows what I'm saying. But I'm saying, all right, Bodhi, you know, soon you're gonna be a big boy, and you're not gonna be having the boob anymore. You're gonna have to sleep on your bed, and you know, you're gonna sleep on your own. You're not gonna have no more milk, because he understands no more. So I said, no more milk. You're gonna sleep on your bed. And weirdly enough, he just went over and laid in his bed. So I was like, maybe he does understand what I'm saying. So I was like, is he just gonna randomly magically fall asleep in his own bed? No, he did not. He stayed there for like a few minutes, and then he came back to me. But I knew he was understanding, you know, some of the things I was saying. So I was like, all right. So it didn't happen that night, but then the next night I was like, okay, we'll try this again. So I just laid with him, and he was like reaching in, lifting on my shirt, like wanting to get in. And I was like, no more, no milk, you know, it'll be okay. And he like fussed for a little while, and then I just like held him, laid with him, and he just like, kept wanting to get in, and I was like, no. And then he just got quiet, and then he fell asleep. It took about 45 minutes of like, he wasn't crying, but he was like whining and making like fussy noises, and then he like zonked out. And then he was probably asleep for like 2 to 3 hours, and then he woke up, and because it was like, by then it was like the middle of the night, it was like around like 12 or 1 o'clock, and I knew Chris had to get up early, and he was kind of like whining and crying. So I initially like tried to just get him to like go back to sleep without me saying anything, without me giving him the boob. But then he like started to cry, and I didn't want him to wake up Chris, so then I just gave him the boob in the middle of the night. So that was step 1. He went down on his own. He slept for about 2 or 3 hours, and then he woke up in the middle of the night, and I gave him the boob. So then the next night, same thing. But it was like shorter. It probably took him 20 minutes to go to sleep initially. And then he woke up in the middle of the night, and then I think probably like the second night, I didn't give him the boob in the middle of the night, and he fussed and he rolled around, but he didn't get to like the crying stage. He was just like a little bit fussy. Then he went to sleep. And so that was like second night, no boob at all. So I was like, ugh. And then by the 3rd night, it took him about 15 minutes to go down on his own. He fussed a little bit in the middle of the night, and I just like put him down, and then no boob from then on. So those days I was still putting him down for a nap with the boob, but the night booby time was like not happening. So we did a good week of him not taking no boob to go to sleep at night, and then he was still doing it for his napping. And then the second week, that's when I started to do it for the nap time, which is the hardest, which we still struggle with today. So we started this at 20 months, and he's almost 23 months now, so we're almost 3 months in of no breastfeeding, and he still struggles to nap without like the boob. So it's like we put him down in the car when Chris has him. Chris just takes him out in the car and he falls asleep. If I have him, he has to like really be super tired, so I have to run him around. He has to get in the pool. He has to like take a bath, and then I literally have to like hold him, or as like Chris likes to say, like baby jujitsu, and I like pin him down, and he just cries, and I turn up the white noise really loud, and I like breathe deep calming breaths into his ear, and then like sometimes I can get him down, and sometimes I just don't feel like fighting him. So the nap time going down, we're still struggling with. He still needs somebody there with him to nap. Like I still have to be with him. I can't just like put him down in the bed. Same thing at night. Like I don't just like, oh, there you go, put him in his bed, and I walk out the room and he goes to sleep. So he still has me there with him, which like eventually we will wean him off of that as well. But at least for the no breastfeeding, like we're good to go. We're all done. And it was pretty easy. I mean, like the first 3 nights, I would say, was a little bit like touch and go. But then we were like, me and Chris were both fretting it, and it wasn't that big a deal. So I hope this helps. I know like it wasn't like the most like technical tips, but if sharing my story gives you some ideas. I watched a video, Amanda Muse's video on weaning her co-sleeping toddler, and that's kind of like what gave me the inspiration to do it. So I'll put a link for her video maybe down below so that you can see what her tips were. And that's all. There was one other thing I was gonna say. Oh, and then this is I'll expand on this in my other video, but it took about 6 weeks after I stopped breastfeeding, completely no breastfeeding, and then I got my period. So that was the problem. And that's all. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to what?
I was going to say, before you do your sign up stuff, I'll edit this out, but plug the website.
Okay. So yes, I don't think there's any other things important things that I missed, but I will be doing another video on trying for baby number 2, like getting your period back, something about like trying for baby number 2 while breastfeeding or something. So yeah. I want to say that this video is being sponsored by www.lovejamesmarie.com, which is our website. We have lots of cute, cuddly things. We have t-shirts, we have hats. We're kind of like panda themed, like our son loves panda stuff, so we're stocking a bunch of panda stuff right now. So if you want to go check it out, the link is down below. And sign up for the email list because we send out like discounts and coupons and stuff like that. And that's where our blog is as well. So that's all. Thanks for watching. Sorry it was kind of lengthy and I was all over the place, but tune in for the next video. Click the little bell if you want to get notifications when I upload, and I will see you next time. Ciao.